If you've been drowning lately, struggling to keep up with a life that everyone else seems to handle just fine, and you've started to suspect that the problem is you, that you're somehow weaker or less capable than you should be, I want you to consider this. You're not overwhelmed because something's wrong with you. You're under-resourced. It's not a defect of your character, it's a math problem with the load. We have a habit of turning load into identity. When the demands pile higher than we can carry, we don't say, "I'm carrying too much." We say, "I can't cope. I'm falling apart. I'm not strong enough." We take a temporary mismatch between the weight and the support, and we convert it into a permanent verdict about who we are. And that verdict makes the whole thing heavier, because now you're not just carrying the load, you're carrying the shame of struggling under it. But let me give you a clearer picture. Think about a bridge. Every bridge has a load rating, a precise figure for how much weight it can bear before it buckles. Now imagine a bridge that starts to crack under the traffic crossing it. Nobody looks at that bridge and says it has a bad attitude. Nobody says it needs to try harder or believe in itself more. An engineer looks at it and asks a completely different question. How much weight is on it, and how much support is underneath it? Because a bridge doesn't crack from weakness, it cracks from a load that exceeds its current support. Add a pillar underneath, and the same bridge holds the same weight without a tremor. That's you. You are not a weak bridge. You are a bridge under a load that currently exceeds your support. And those are completely different diagnoses with completely different solutions. One says there's something wrong with the structure. The other says there's a mismatch between the demand and the resources, and a mismatch can be fixed. You don't need to become stronger. You need more pillars under the load you're already carrying. Let me tell you about someone. I'll call her Sophia. Sophia was holding a full-time job, a parent who'd just gotten sick, 2 kids and a household, and she was crumbling, and she was furious at herself for crumbling. She'd look at other people who seemed to manage and conclude that she was the broken one, that everyone else had some reserve of strength she'd been born without. Every dropped ball felt like proof of a personal failing, rather than what it actually was, which was one human being carrying the load of about 3. The cruelest part was how the self-blame compounded the problem. The more she told herself she was weak, the less she reached for help. Because asking for help felt like confessing the weakness she was already ashamed of. So she carried more and more alone, under heavier and heavier weight, with fewer and fewer pillars, and then blamed her own character for the predictable cracks. She was an under-resourced bridge, convinced it was a defective one. The turn for Sophia came when someone finally said to her, "You're not failing, you're just doing the work of 3 people with the support of 1, and the reframe changed everything she did next. She stopped asking what's wrong with me and started asking what's missing under me. She found a pillar here, a pillar there, help with the kids, a hard conversation about the job, letting some things genuinely drop. The load didn't vanish overnight, but the moment she saw it as a resource gap instead of a character flaw, she could finally start solving the right problem." And there's real science here. Psychologists describe stress through what's called the demands-resources model, and the finding is remarkably clean. Overwhelm isn't caused by demands alone, and it isn't caused by some inner fragility. It's caused by the gap between the demands placed on you and the resources you have to meet them. 2 people can face the identical load, and the one with more support, more recovery, more help, sails through while the other buckles. Not because one is stronger as a person, but because one had more pillars. The condition is in the ratio, not in the self. So if you've been blaming your own strength, here are 3 things I want you to understand. First, overwhelm is a ratio, not a flaw. It's the gap between load and support, nothing more. You can be a perfectly sound structure and still crack under a weight that exceeds your current resources. The cracking tells you about the math, not about your worth. Second, the solution is rarely more strength, it's more pillars. You've probably been trying to fix overwhelm by squeezing more out of yourself, working harder, sleeping less, gritting your teeth, but you can't out willpower a load that exceeds your support. The real fix is to lighten the load or widen the support. Add a pillar, drop a weight, ask for help, change the ratio. Third, asking for support is engineering, not weakness. No one calls a bridge weak for resting on its pillars. That's how bridges are designed to work. You were never meant to bear everything on the span alone. Reaching for help isn't a confession of inadequacy. It's the most structurally sound thing you can do. So I want you to stop diagnosing a character flaw where there's only a resource gap. Stop trying to white-knuckle your way through a load that no amount of inner strength was built to carry alone. You were never weak. You were simply under-resourced, and that, unlike weakness, is something you can actually fix. The poet Mary Oliver once wrote, "You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You don't have to repent for cracking under too much weight. You have to find your pillars. You're not overwhelmed because you're weak. You're under-resourced, and that gap can close. So put down the shame and go build some support.